Okay, so let's take a look. All right. I believe this is live, but let me see. So welcome. If you can see this video, or if there's anyone in here, please say hello in the live chat. All right. So welcome to a live stream. Great. Bill, glad to see you here. So some developments going on right now on the S&P 500 following some Trump tariffs. Hey, welcome guys. All right. It's been a while since I've done a live video, but this is what we're watching right now on the S&P 500. And so yeah, we got some news about Trump tariffs. And we're just looking at the market reaction. Again, no overreaction right now, whether to the downside or the upside, because there's a couple of things that I've been looking at, that I've been posting on the group chat in terms of we are at resistance for the VIX, okay? That was one of the biggest things I want to talk about. Now, if we have to wait until I think the end of the day to make a better analysis, right? Because right now we still have a little under 2 hours to go with trading. And there's a lot of things that can happen in 2 hours. So we're going to be watching this, how this transpires. And so let's take a look at the hourly chart for the S&P 500. Yeah, fell like a stone. It was everything was rallying quite nicely today, as I initially expected, but again, can't predict what Trump says. So far, this is the hourly chart. It looks a little convoluted, and for good reason, right? We can still see here that we have a bearish 2050 hourly cross. So this is the bearish 2050 hourly cross, but we will have to be monitoring this support level, which comes at a support level of yesterday. That level's around 295.37, and see if that holds on an hourly basis. So far, this is the reaction that we're seeing right now. Obviously, a lot of panic. You can see really the volume kicking in as well. And how's the video quality? YouTube's kind of giving me a bitrate warning. How can I change the bitrate of this video? I'm not sure, but let me know if this is clear. Okay, so we're going to be watching this level. Again, we have a little under 2 hours to go. So here's the couple things I'm watching right now, okay? Here's the VIX. Note that we are above currently the 17.4 level on the VIX. That level is a resistance, okay? So what I mean by resistance is we can have intraday spikes through the level, but we expect to close below that resistance, okay? So a little blurry. Okay. Give me a moment and let me see if I can change my settings. Output. Okay, let me change this to... Okay, let me know if this is better. Okay, so anyways, I changed it to 4500 bit rate, and we'll take a look. Okay, so let's take a look at TVIX. So you can see that volume is really picking up right now with TVIX. We're exceeding yesterday's high already. So it'll be interesting how this plays out by the end of the day. Yeah, let's take a look at the intraday chart. Okay, still moving higher. As you can see right now, what TVIX is doing is it continues to hug the 20-period moving average. And, this, if you wanted to play on the fear, this could potentially be day tradable at this point, right? If you wanted to play this. But swinging right now, again, we'll have to evaluate things by the end of the day. Let's take a look at the SPY chart. SPY is trying to really save this level, as you can see. It's still downtrending currently. Again, the hourly time frame will take more precedence than the current time frame right now. Okay. Let's take a look at the daily on the SPY. So on the daily, this is what we have right now. So it looks like a rejection off of the 20-period moving average. We try to recover, and so far failing. But again, I don't want to make a drastic decision. As you all know, based off of news alone, things can also switch. This is coming after FOMC yesterday, and we saw some rapid moves yesterday. So this was yesterday on the 5-minute chart, and this is today, right? So again, we're acting on news right now. So it's not something that I'm too interested in. Though if you wanted to play on fear, I think it's possible. Okay, welcome everyone. Glad to see you all here. Okay. So yeah, I just wanted to come on and give an update. We'll see. So take a look at this support level, and we'll see how we can, if this level does hold. You can see that the market thinks that this level is pretty important, because this is where we found support yesterday. If you look at the daily time frame, it's pretty much the same thing. You can see this support level over here, this support level and resistance over here, resistance near here. So if this level breaks, look for the gap area as support. We kind of discussed this yesterday in the stock talk, right? Look for that area. And actually, out of all this, one can actually take a look at, the strongest stocks versus the weaker stocks. Who's really taking the hit right now? Right? We see Micron down here. We see AMD taking a hit. So we see semis, right? Off of tariffs again. We see Chinese stocks taking a hit. We see transports today really taking a hit. So you can see TVIX continues to hug the 20-period moving average, right? This is still moving higher, an uptrend. One thing I'm going to keep in mind is the TVIX hourly chart. This is not very easy to trade. As you can see, this was where we ended yesterday. We came down, found support at these moving averages. Now, let me just tell you that we don't always find support at these moving averages on the hourly time frame. This doesn't happen that often. It can, but it just happened coincidentally with Trump, kind of giving out his statement on Twitter. So this is where we are right now. Okay. So fear continues to move higher. So as you can see, with SPY breaking, at least in the intraday chart, right, breaking the near-term support, TVIX continues to go up. And the further we break below the support, the more TVIX will spike, because this is a near-term support line. And if you think about this, net, right, between yesterday and today, how big was this drop? It's actually a little bit pretty sizable, right? This drop. So far, it's been a 2% drop. So actually, it looks quite big, and that's comparatively to the past few days in which we've been just grinding higher off the 20-period moving average. So with some negative news, you can see that we're coming on lower. Now, we're actually moving lower now below 295 on the SPY. Look for the support level. So the first support level comes in at 294.40. So let's take a look at the intraday chart. Looks like a roller coaster. Yeah, so again, I'm staying calm under these circumstances, but obviously the market's pushing lower right now with this news. So see this boxed area down here? Look for that area to act as support. We're actually coming in very close to that level right now. Yeah, and you don't see this very often either, in which, this is a news catalyst, and then look at this volume that just comes in on these minute candles. I just find this 1 million, almost 1 million shares being traded on this 1 minute. So look for that area to act as support. The next area. Okay, welcome everyone to. Hey Marie, it looks like yeah. All right, so we can take a look at all sorts of charts right now, but all these charts are going to look the same. Remember, on the Dow futures, we're looking at this horizontal support line. Again, we'll see how we close by the end of the day, but this is a support. This is where we broke out. So if we didn't break out, then we would have to place some more caution in broad markets. I still remember, I don't know if y'all remember this, but this was down in May. Remember, this was in May. A pretty hefty move, a pullback of 5 to 7. This is around 7%, a little over 7% pullback over here. And what happened was we had Mexico tariffs, Chinese tariffs, all sorts of news down here, right? And then once we hit a support level and we held, we went up and took it out all in 4 days, right? So now we're up here. Can we do something similar? Yes, potentially. So we'll have to do this day by day again. Take this day by day. How's everyone doing? We are diving here, Space Ghost. All right. Welcome to the live stream. AMD support at 29. So for AMD, this is one that I would place a little bit more caution. I think for AMD, what we want to look at is the weekly time frame, right? And the reason is we went above on the weekly time frame. So tomorrow is a pretty critical day for markets, given the fluctuations we've had today, right? Volatility certainly has expanded, so we expect price to be jumping back and forth very quickly. And Fridays typically are pretty solid days for the market. So how will the bulls respond, if they respond? So we'll have to see that. And weekly closes on the AMD chart will be important, because closing below it will be, once again, a slight negative, especially if we close like this. If you look at this chart for AMD, this is quite a significant overbearing candle, right? But again, the week hasn't ended. It ends tomorrow. So, as you all know, a lot of things can happen in 1 day now with this volatility expanding. Same story with SPY. Is SPY going to start making this sort of candle, right? Will SPY make this sort of candle on the weekly time frame? If we do, we'll be looking for what? Another higher low, right? This is on an uptrend. There's no doubt about it, for SPY is on an uptrend. This is not in question. But what's in question right now is the near-term trend. Okay, so all right, let's take a look at TVIX. So the TVIX continues to elevate. So this is a fairly consistent pattern, right? Still moving at the 20-period moving average, getting still above. So no change here. NQ, one thing I'm monitoring is how are all the sectors responding to this, right? So relatively, NQs are holding up a little bit better than the rest, right? Financials taking a hit today, as well as the transports. So let's take a look at financials. Actually, this was okay. Okay, so yeah, feel free to, if you guys have any comments, I'll tackle them right now. If you have any comments on, the charts don't look that good right now, but we have to really take this day by day. So let's go back to the SPY intraday chart. I'm more concerned about the SPY intraday chart. The reason is it's a good representation of the broad markets, and it's kind of interesting. This doesn't happen very often, in which SPY can't even get over the 20. Usually when we tap the 20 a couple of times with such aggressive sell-offs, we're able to get to that 50-period intraday moving average at least, right? So this is, you can see, this up move hugging the 20, this down move hugging the 20. So far, pretty predictable. With 30 minutes to go into the close of the hour. So we should be able to get to the 50 moving average. Okay, so the VIX is at 18.84. So I want to go back to the VIX again and tell everyone, when we have these spikes, you can see these spikes, right? In the past, what happened by the end of the day? Well, we pretty much took back some of these spikes by the end of the day. So we'll be watching that 17.4 level. And we did spike through it. You can see this peak over here. Obviously, each circumstance might be different, but this is a clear resistance area. The high of this is 18.78. The high of these candles were 19.61. So far, the high of our candle is 18.84. Turns out to be one of those days. Okay. All right, so we'll continue to monitor this and see how the sell-off is going. Still trying to find support. The market is pretty close to my next support level. So if it wants to get there, it's certainly not that difficult. It's only a few pennies away. Let's take a look at the IWM, because that is one of the index that I'll be focusing on. Interesting. IWM never makes things easy, huh? So yesterday we were still holding over the support line. And today we're breaking under. Again, tomorrow's going to be a big day. We'll see how this closes on the weekly time frame, and there's other time frames that we're monitoring in the group as well, right? So we'll take a look at the IWM. This is still on a bull flag, as you can see, but I won't like it if we start closing some of the days next week, closing below that bull flag. I will not like that. So. And look at this volume coming in for TVIX on the daily. So this volume up here was 71 million. We're getting towards those levels. 54 million currently with 1.5 hours to go. At this rate, we can get to one of these levels over here. All right. So we still have, when I look at these stickers, some of these stickers are still holding up quite nicely. Microsoft is still up. Again, I like my list on the top left because I use this as a representation of, it's not a complete representation of broad markets, but this is my own way of kind of gauging, some of these quality tickers, some of them in there and some of them not that great. How are they faring compared to the S&P 500? So TVIX, same story here. Still hugging the 20-period moving average. Still pushing higher. So where is SPY? We are getting down towards the gap area. Look for this gap area to act as support. And this is a significant support, right? First is a gap, but as you all can see, this level, resistance, gap, support. And this is also coincidentally where the 50-period moving average is slanting higher as well. So, breaking through this level today, obviously not that positive, right? That would be, Okay. So watching a couple things on this chart. And when you look at what you've seen lately in the past few minutes is you can see the NQs or NASDAQ following, and it's actually catching up to the downside. That's actually not that great. You see NQs catching up with some of the rest of the indices. It wasn't happening like this earlier, so wow. When have you seen something like this, right? The market never ceases to surprise us. This was yesterday. This was today. All right, Tango. Gold, what's up with it? GDX, upward momentum. Yeah, bullish gold. I talked about yesterday with gold at least that it was holding the support on the daily time frame. And there are a couple other things that I was watching with the members, right? Members, you all know what I was watching. But, simply said, this is on an uptrend, still hitting the 20-period moving average. Today we came down, look at this, tested my horizontal support, and up it goes. And this looks like it wants to break out. So gold looks continuously positive. That next resistance is upwards at 1479. So again, gold doing well. One of the gold tracking, you can take a look at JNUG, up 14.8%. Look at this. So again, a pretty strong signal right here in terms of an uptrend as well. GDX. Yeah, same story. You can see GDX, JNUG, this sort of candle right here. Uptrend still intact. I think it's always interesting to watch these charts, but I'm certainly not panicking in these circumstances. Again, this is a news-driven event. Can it culminate to something more? Yeah, possibly. But I want to see what the bulls can do by the end of the day, right? Tomorrow as well. Are we going to start a landslide back down? We'll see. So TVIX still moving around the 20-period moving average and continues to push higher. Still, the fear continues to build. Now, you guys can also take a look at this, right? How much is TVIX moving relative to the markets going down? That's something that's interesting too. Because if the market isn't going down a lot and TVIX is going up a lot, right? That shows a lot of fear built up in the markets. So here's the VIX at almost at 19. Okay. Feel free to ask any questions that you may have in the chat because I'll be answering them. We'll take again. There'll be a comprehensive analysis tonight. Okay, there's going to be a public stock talk and a member stock talk as well. But I just want to come back and take a look at the charts with everyone since everything seems like all of a sudden we've done a, what, 180-degree turn, right, to the downside. Natural gas going down. This pattern still is the same. Crude oil is the other one that's been rather huge, right? This is something that we'll analyze further later on today. But for crude oil, we're back at the next support, the support level of $54. So looking for this area to act as support. This is a very sizable move. This is an 8% move, right? On these days, did we even have an 8% move? These were only 6% moves. So pretty dramatic. So TVIX continues to build. It's over $18 now. It's fascinating. Okay. Okay. The VIX is over 19, as you can all see, 19.11. So the VIX is still increasing. And so what are we doing right now? Just monitoring the reactions right now. You can see that actually the VIX is still spiking higher. Actually got to 19.33, but TVIX is moving down a little bit, so we'll see. Okay, we have 20 minutes until the hourly close, and we still hold this consistent TVIX pattern. Take a look at the Dow futures. All right, let's see if SPY hit support yet. Did we get into the gap? We got pretty darn close to the gap. So this is so far we have, I wouldn't call this a reaction until we'll see it after the fact, but we got pretty close to the gap so far. So what day does today remind you of? Kind of reminds us of these days here, huh? The start of a major drop. But we'll take this one day at a time. I think if this is the start of a major drop, then we'll have our expectations. But so far, we need today to conclude first. Another thing to note is look at this angle here. So everyone pay attention to these angles, right? This is a steep slope. This is what? Less steep, right? So does that make sense? That selling pressure is waning a little bit as we get near the support. It makes sense. So sell-off continues, huh? So I betcha that a lot of people who's trading TVIX right now have stops pretty much under these candles here. So what I mean by this is, okay, so wait, hold on. SPY is getting into the gap probably by now. Okay, so into the gap we go. We're looking for support down here. Support. So remember, I think everyone has seen in the past how we have high volume selling and a rapid propagation of the move down. That could be the intraday capitulation low that we would be looking for. And that would mean a series of red candles on the minute time frame, right? So a series of red candles, and we get overstretched or significantly overstretched below the 20 period moving average. That could be capitulation low, but we'll have to be monitoring the volume on this, because the volume on this right here was 1.7 million. So we'll have to be monitoring this if we don't have that. Again, this is not an absolute requirement, but that is one area in which I would be looking for reversal to the upside intraday. So TVIX is now at, wow, over $18. So let's take a look at a couple things. So look at this right now. We have, okay. So here's the deal right now. We're in the gap, but take a look at, we still have buying pressure. So do we have capitulation right now? Not yet. Doesn't seem like it. All right, Andre. Kevin, last year the stock market was booming in August, but in September, apocalypse. What if history repeats? The global geopolitical are not that favorable. Personally, I cashed out, looking forward to see what's happening. What if it repeats? I think that is on everyone's minds. What if it repeats? But we'll have to take this one day at a time, because I don't think any two pattern will look identical. So okay, sky's falling. All right, so here we go. So a lot of people will have stops right below 1754, this candle down here. So if we start breaking the 20 period moving average on the intraday chart, look for those stops to be hit. So let's take a look at SPY. We went into the gap area, and so far we're bouncing off of it slightly. But you can see this is, it's almost like methodical, in which we get 20 period moving average intraday rejections off of this area. So far we are at 293.96. That puts us right at the gap. Can you see that? So we didn't completely fill the gap. We came close, and we're moving off of that level. Okay, so now you can see there's going to be a lot of stops being hit right now, because that is a reasonable area to hit a stop. Pretty much right at 1754. and we've hit support. So as you can see, we finally have broken out of the 20 period moving average, and now we're getting towards the 50. Okay. So far we can see some muster of a support. DJT, let's take a look at that. Okay. I'm just looking at the significance of the bounce on each chart and seeing how well this meshes. So you can see finally got out of this zone and started bouncing. This is the Dow futures, by the way. And look how quick TVIX can drop. Watch this drop. All right, one more turn. Welcome. Okay. So look at the VIX right now, right? Dropping down. Question is, where will we be by the end of the day? So look at the SPY. Up we go. Give a comment to the members on YouTube. So take a look at TVIX and how fast it can slide. With a reasonable stop below the 20 period moving average. All right? So you can see a stop below the 20 or somewhere around here is reasonable. Now, it doesn't say that it can still reverse and go back. I mean, it can, but you know, if you have a profit, preserving profit as a day trade is very important, in my opinion, because of how fast these swings can go. Fascinating. One way you might tell that the momentum for the bulls is waning is tomorrow. If we start, you know, just hovering below the 20 period moving average and we can't recover that average, then that could be the first warning sign, okay, for what's to come. But yeah, there's plenty of time to go today and tomorrow, and a lot of developments can occur. For members, here's the hourly time frame for everyone, but this is what we have so far. And this is why you should, when you're trading TVIX on the fear, always have a stop, right? Always have a stop. These moves here, you know, this is a 6% move almost. So if you're playing on fear, then that's that. So let's take a look at where SPY is right now currently. Okay, so again, I want to take this a day at a time. So for those who follow my YouTube channel in the course, right? Where we close today is more important than what happens intraday. This is lagging a little. So look at this aggressive sell-off that's occurring for TVIX. All right, so again, we'll have to monitor this. If we can recover this level, 295.40, then we can say that we've held support so far for today. But if this holds into the close, this actually is pretty negative though. Even though we held support, the rejection off of the 20-period moving average would still be viewed quite negatively. Because the bulls were unable to recover at least this move here. So how things transpire from now to the end of the day with 1 hour and 5 minutes to go, very important. And if you were watching the Fed and its press conference yesterday, you heard a little bit about what Jerome Powell was talking about. It was saying that one of the bigger uncertainties is the trade tariffs, and that he really has no control. But what they have to do is they, shift their monetary policy to accommodate whatever economic conditions come out of that, right? So that was one of the big uncertainties. So take a look at TVIX. Let's take a look at crude oil and see what crude oil is doing right now. Yeah. It's at support, but it's right now it's unconvincing of a bounce so far. Let's take a look at UWT. So this is bullish crude oil. So members, you know what I'm looking at right now. Yeah, breaking this support level. Coming back down over here. So as you can see for the crude, can you see that we had the daily 2050 bear cross? And what happened today was, what happened? We were about to form a bullish cross on the daily, and instead it turned the other direction. So that's not a very good sign. We'll talk a little bit more about that in the stock talk tonight. Okay. So what am I looking at right now? So I'm looking at the intraday charts right now of the crosses again. And these areas should act as resistance. So that's what I'm looking at. But for those of you, I'm going to end the stream right now. Thank you very much for watching this video. I just wanted to give some of my thoughts of how I read the charts, at least intraday. And if you were to day trade, some of the thoughts on how to look at TVIX and just safely exit a position when you know, especially if you got into profit or if you entered at any one of these places. So thanks everyone for watching. This live stream doesn't happen often. And I'll be monitoring these conditions going into the end of the day. So stock talk tonight for everyone. Have a great day.